So just to let you know, good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Van Dorn. I'm the President and CEO of the Pleasanton Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to our February, I can't believe it's February 2025 forum. And this meeting and group is primarily made up of folks that are interested in helping us move forward our Vision 2025, a document that we recently updated just before COVID arrived. So, of course, providing energy to our business community and our residents is very important to Pleasanton remaining one of the best cities, if not the best city in the East Bay to live and start your business. So we're really pleased to have a great speaker today. And I'd like to introduce our Vice Chair, Lori Feldberg, Lori, and she's going to introduce our speaker, Lori Moffett Feldberg, sorry.
Just don't call me Mrs. Feldberg. I look over my shoulder for my mother-in-law.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Okay, so our guest speaker is Danny Kelly, Account Services Analyst for East Bay Community Energy. Danny helps EBCE's commercial customers make informed energy decisions for their businesses, whether providing customers with their 15-minute interval data, sharing information on the latest energy rates and programs, or answering billing questions. Danny's eager to assist your business, especially when you call and say, why are my bills so high? Hailing from San Francisco and receiving his BA from UC Berkeley, Danny is passionate to see the Bay Area succeed in the transition to a clean economy. It's all yours, Danny.
Thank you very much, Lori and Steve. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks for having us today. Nice to meet you, Councilmember Nurum. I haven't gotten a chance to meet you yet, so great to meet you. Today, I am going to speak about East Bay Community Energy. I'm not sure some of you folks may have heard a little bit about EBCE, but the city of Pleasanton has voted to join East Bay Community Energy, and we will be available in April. So we wanted to get out ahead of that and just, start spreading the word and letting you know what East Bay Community Energy is all about and what it means. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen now. Oh, looks like it's working.
You should be okay. There you go. Good.
Okay, let me present here. And can you see it in presentation mode? Perfect. All right, so let's get started. So what is East Bay Community Energy? We're a local power supplier. We deal with the electricity generation. We serve Alameda County and the city of Tracy. We reinvest our earnings back into the community to create local green energy jobs, energy programs, and clean power projects. So how it works. What I mean by the fact that we are in the electricity generation business is that we are buying the power for our customers. So we are choosing where the power is generated. PG&E continues to deliver the power. They continue to maintain, the transmission lines and distribution lines, and they continue to send you the bill. So, up until right now, everyone in Pleasanton just about receives their electricity generation and their electricity delivery from PG&E. You pay PG&E for choosing where the power comes from, and then also for maintaining the infrastructure, and it all shows up on one bill. Come April, you will have the option to remove PG&E's generation charge and replace it with East Bay Community Energies. So thereby EBCE would be choosing where your power comes from. All still shows up on one bill for the customer. And so I pulled a picture of the bill here so that you could see what it looks like. Currently you might only have two line items, electric charges and gas charges. That electric charge line item, it'll get split into two because you're paying, two different entities for the different services now. So it'll add an additional line item, but it's not actually adding, the $187 for EBCE. It's just splitting it out of the bundled PG&E electric charges. And then you'll be able to see actually on your EBCE page, usually down a few pages, about page 4 of the PG&E bill, for those of you that still do the deep dive into your PG&E bill every month. And you can actually see, depending on what service option you're on, and I'll get a little bit into this, you can see how much you're saving, or if you're on our savings rate, or if you're on our premium rate, you can see how much more you're paying to receive 100% renewable energy. So let's backtrack a little bit and get into the history. In 2015, the County of Alameda wanted to see whether or not they should form their own CCA. And what a CCA is a community choice aggregator. So the real history of this also dates back to the early 2000s with the California energy crisis, at which time there was some litigation, and the state of California decided that we needed only a few energy providers. And so up here in Northern California, PG&E became the sole provider. And there were some laws passed that said, well, if we as a community come together and want an alternative, we should be able to do that. So in 2010, Marin County actually was the first county to form a CCA, and they've been serving their customers since 2010. And then it started to spread a little bit throughout California. Eventually it gets to us here in Alameda County. In 2017, our agency is formed. In 2018, we began serving customers, 11 different jurisdictions within the County of Alameda, as well as the county itself. And then in 2019, the cities of Tracy, Pleasanton, and Newark joined. So now we will serve just about every city in Alameda County. The only exception is actually the city of Alameda. They have their own municipal energy and they don't receive PG&E's electricity generation. It's been that way since the 1800s. So they're going to keep doing their thing over there. But we'll serve Alameda County now, as well as the city of Tracy. And then come April 2021 is when Pleasanton, Newark, and Tracy will be eligible for EBCE service. So I also wanted to, alert you guys that our notifications are beginning to be sent. I've heard actually that I had a call yesterday with someone from the Hacienda group, and he said he had already received their notification over there at Hacienda. So keep your eyes out. In February, we'll be sending this physical letter. It looks something like this. And then in March, April, and May, depending on what information we have from PG&E on whether or not we have an email for our customers, we'll either be sending it by email or letter. And they'll look a little bit different than this, but just keep your eyes out for notifications coming from us with more information. So once again, there's our service area to date. You can see our new communities highlighted there. All right, so what are my options? So to date, you might have just thought you received PG&E's electric service. Whatever they're generating for you, that's what you're getting. Sort of all bundled in one. With EBCE, you actually have a few additional options. You can choose which power mix works best for you and your business. So the city of Pleasanton has selected our Brilliant 100 rate as the default rate for most residents and businesses. Our Brilliant 100 rate, it's a great rate. It's 100% carbon free, not GHG emitting. And it's the exact same price as what you would pay with PG&E. So, no financial difference to you, the customer, and it's 100% carbon-free energy, which is great. We do have two additional options. Our Bright Choice option is, at least 5% more renewable than what PG&E's targeted renewable standard is. So it's also a good, clean product, and it's 1% below PG&E's rate. So it offers customers a little bit of savings from month to month. And then on the other side of that, we have our Renewable 100 option, which is 100% renewable energy. It's all from California wind and solar. It's about a penny more per kilowatt hour, which for businesses can vary widely depending on your business. But for residents, it's between $3 and $5 more a month typically. So those are our three options, and people often ask, what's the difference between the carbon-free and the renewable option? The main difference is the state of California doesn't consider large hydro a renewable source of energy, even though it is carbon-free. So the Renewable 100 option does not contain large hydro or nuclear. All right, so what are the benefits of East Bay Community Energy? As I mentioned, lower rates. We've been able to maintain our Bright Choice option at a rate that is priced below PG&E since we launched in 2018. So we've been offering our customers savings from that. In 2020, we saved our customers on aggregate about $10 million, which is great. Local control and investment. We are governed by locally elected officials such as Councilmember Nurum here, which is awesome. Our folks in EBC East Territory have a little bit more representation in their energy provider. You can come to a public meeting and make public comment, and all the information is available in public to you, so you can be as involved as you like, which is great. Sustainability, obviously, as you can see, our Bright Choice product is targeted to be more renewable. We have additional options for customers who want even more renewables than that. So certainly sustainability is a part of our drive. And then customer choice and programs. You now have a few different choices for your power mix. You also do have the choice to opt out and go back to PG&E. So not only do you have choices within EBCE, you have the choice between two providers, which you didn't really have before. So that's great for customers. And then programs, as EBCE grows, we'll continue to launch customer programs that customers can take advantage of, in addition to most programs that PG&E offers. So since you are still a PG&E customer on the delivery side, you can still take advantage of PG&E's programs, but then any programs that we offer, you can also take advantage of as well, which is fantastic. So in addition to buying clean power, we're also, doing our part to get more on the grid. We'll need a lot more as the years come, as things electrify and California's green energy targets continue to get more aggressive. So we have already signed to date 9 projects totaling over 550 megawatts of wind and solar and 150 megawatts of battery storage. We actually just did a ribbon cutting a week or so ago on a Rosamond project, which is a big solar project out in Kern County. So we're excited to see, we have a few more coming online this year, early next year. So that's great to see. And that'll, also help maintain stable rates and low pricing for our customers. And the local programs that I mentioned that these are some that we currently offer, and there's plenty more on the way. One of the really cool programs that we're offering right now is our what we call Resilient Home Project. Customers, I'm sure you guys have heard it, are very concerned about PG&E's power shutoffs that we've experienced in the last few years. And customers want to know how they can keep their lights on. And while an EBCE customer is no better off or no worse off, it's still PG&E's lines, as I mentioned. So if you're with EBCE and you're in PG&E's service area and they decide to cut service, there's nothing we can do about that. So we asked ourselves, what can we do to help? And our Resilient Home program is sort of an answer to that. We're looking to help customers install battery storage in their homes, especially homes with solar, or to add solar and battery storage. That way, customers can actually keep the lights on in the event that the grid goes down. So that's one of the really cool programs we're offering right now. And then we'll be doing additional things with things like induction cooking and energy efficiency, all sorts of programs that you'll now be eligible for as a EBCE customer. Folks are often surprised to see this map right here, and that CCAs to date actually serve a good portion of California. It started out, as I mentioned, in Marin, so it's more heavily focused. There's a longer track record up in NorCal, but Southern California is starting to see more and more CCAs develop as well. There's some good numbers here. I already mentioned that we saved our customers about $10 million in aggregate in 2020. EBCE served about 10% of the load in PG&E service area. So then you can imagine when you add the other CCAs that are in PG&E service area, it's a good percentage of the load. So CCAs continue to grow, and communities continue to see the value in having their own community energy agency. So, what are some of the next steps? I'm not sure if I, expressly touched upon this, but with East Bay Community Energy, the way the law is written in California, when a county forms a CCA, customers are automatically transitioned from PG&E's electric generation to East Bay Community Energies. So this is an important point. So if you do nothing, you will automatically be switched from PG&E's bundled service to East Bay Community Energies at the Brilliant 100 option, most likely in Pleasanton, unless you're on a care FARA plan or a medical baseline plan, in which case you'll be enrolled at our savings option, the Bright Choice option. So it's important to make sure you're enrolled in whatever option you want to be enrolled in, or if you don't want to enroll with EBCE, make sure you call and let us know and you can remain with PG&E. So I'd say that is the biggest step, is to check out our options, give us a call, contact us, make sure you find out everything about us, and make sure you're enrolled in the right option for you. And then please attend a public meeting, see what we're all about, follow us on social media, join our newsletter. We've got lots of great content there. And that's the end of my, basic EBCE, intro to EBCE presentation, but I did want to take some time quickly to mention this B rate transition that is launching. I'm sure some folks on the line are aware of this, but come next month, March 2021, businesses throughout PG&E's territory are being transitioned to new business time of use rates. So many businesses have been on a time of use rate in the past, but the hours and seasons are changing and the price structure is changing a little bit. So we have more information available on these B rates. If customers are interested in this, or if it's the first you're hearing of it, we can certainly help you make better sense of it. But essentially, if you haven't already switched, your business will likely switch from whatever the A rate is to an equivalent B rate. So if you're on an A19, you're going to go to a B19, that sort of thing. And then the priciest point of energy throughout the course of the year is going to be from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So PG&E and the state of California and EBC, we're really hoping to incentivize customers not to use energy during 4 to 9 p.m., which I know is impossible or very hard for customers to switch their energy depending on the business use or various circumstances, and we understand that. But just we want to make sure that customers are aware of these changes so that whatever they can do, they can do, I guess. And as I said, we're happy to work on a one-off basis with customers to help them make sense of this. And with that said, I'll take some questions now if we have time for it. Steve?
Yeah, we have lots of time. So do you want to stop sharing your screen so we can see everybody? Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we have an intimate crowd this morning, so I will just open it up. Anybody that has a question. And it looks like Herb did. What are the reasons someone would opt out? Sounds like there is no price change with current service. So
yeah, good question. That is true at the Brilliant 100 rate. As I mentioned, it's the same price as PG&E, so there's no price change. One of the big reasons we see customers opting out is they didn't like that they were enrolled automatically. So as I mentioned, you automatically get switched from PG&E to EBCE unless you specifically call or go online and ask not to be. And so often what happens is customers, they weren't aware of it, and then they look at their energy bill and they see a new name on there and they say, well, I don't know what this is, so I opt out. That's the primary reason we see customers opting out. But in the communities we've served since 2018, our opt-out rate is only about 5%. So it's a very small number of customers who do opt out. I see the chat now, and I see there's a question from Ken.
Yes, right.
about the tiered program from PG&E, and will that continue with PG&E? So or with EBCE? What I think you're referring to there is, tiered energy usage or buckets. So it can get a little confusing. I have to make sure I get my terminology straight in terms of the time of use buckets and then the tiered allowance buckets.
Yeah, Danny, what I was referring to was basically the time of use. Like right now, my bill, there's two different rates, one off peak and one peak. And so I was wondering, does that continue if we go with EBC?
It does, yes. So that's those new time of use B rates that I mentioned at the end there. That's part of those off peak and peak. So those hours are shifting a little bit. So I definitely recommend, depending on whatever you're currently on, they might be shifting. And that's only for the business side. On the residential side, there's actually also going to be a time of use transition coming in May in Pleasanton. So we'll have more information on that as well. But in answer to your question, Ken, yes, it will continue with EBC.
Okay. Thank you.
Danny, the shifting to the residents, like you mentioned, coming up, is that going to be similar to what the businesses are going to be seeing next month? Or is it, do you have any sense of that?
I do. It's similar and there's some differences. Residents will actually have some options. Businesses, they don't really have an option. It's, you don't have much choice as to what rate you're switched to. It's a sort of an automatic thing based off of how much energy you use. PG&E monitors, your usage and your demand and selects your rate for you that way. But for residents, there is actually some, you can have your voice heard and there's a little bit of preference. So there's there's one of the time of use rates goes 7 days a week. And then one of the time of use rates is only on weekdays. So there's a little bit more optionality depending on what you're like as a resident and your use pattern. I'm not as versed in those rates right now, but we do have information. We're building information on our website that we can certainly share, and we will be sharing.
Did you see the next question in the chat? Our business has solar, which qualifies for a lower PG&E rate. Does that change with EBCE?
So solar customers with EBCE, you can still be a solar customer with EBCE and you will automatically switch just like other customers, assuming that is what you want. I'm not sure what the lower rate is, but we do accept, it's a very rare occurrence where there's a rate that we don't serve, that PG&E serves. So chances are you will be served with EBCE and you'll continue to get, you'll continue to pay, for kilowatt hours that you pull from the grid, and you'll still be paid for kilowatt hours you put back on the grid. The main difference with EBCE's solar service is the way we do the billing. So as I'm sure are aware, PG&E throughout the course of the year just charges $10, sort of a minimum fee. And then at the end of the year, during your true up date, they sort of make everything true. Actually, Steve and I had a conversation about this a week ago with his bill. And they make everything true and you have to pay for everything that you haven't yet paid for. With EBCE, we don't do that sort of accounting. So we charge you that month. So let's say, you used 100 kilowatt hours, you pulled 100 kilowatt hours from the grid. We would charge you for those 100 kilowatt hours that month instead of saving it once a year and charging you the total bank. And if the opposite is true, if you over-generated 100 kilowatt hours, we actually add it to sort of your EBCE piggy bank, and you can see it right there on the bill that says, you have $20 credit saved with EBCE, and then the next month you would either add to or pull from that piggy bank.
Great. Did you see Melissa asked, can businesses choose the 100% carbon-free or renewable plan, or is it that only for residential users?
Yeah, all those three options that I mentioned are open to residents and businesses. There's no difference. You can choose any of the three. One thing I will mention, and this is getting a little bit into the weeds, is that our Brilliant 100 option is actually only available for Pleasanton, Newark, and Tracy residents and businesses. So if you live in our other areas in Alameda County, Brilliant 100 is closed, and the service will likely close at the end of calendar year 2021. So just something to keep in mind, you know, if maybe you live in Dublin and you log onto our website and you only see Bright Choice and Renewable 100, that's why. But Pleasanton residents and businesses can select from any three of those, yes.
Herb has a question. And
Hey, Danny, thanks. Great presentation. If residential customer or commercial was going to switch over to solar, is the rebates different than supply going?
No, it's the same with EBCE. Yeah, we don't have any added solar right now, and our sort of offering is just about the same as PG&E's. So it's really no different. You would still, you know, you're still going to have to contact PG&E about the connection agreement, since they're handling, you know, the meter and the wires and stuff. You still just contact them. From what it looks like from our perspective is we don't even have to know about it until all of a sudden PG&E tells us this customer is now a solar customer, and then the rate automatically updates on our end.
Okay, thanks.
And Brock, you had a question? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Danny. We like most informed, intelligent people seem to get our news from places like Nextdoor, and Nextdoor has this discussion going on right now about EBC, saying that the rates will actually be higher because you have to pay PG&E for the infrastructure. And so I know everything I read online is true, but I figured I would ask you anyway.
Yes, thank you for asking that, Brock. So I tried to include in my slides that bill presentment page, because that's often where that confusion comes around from. When I was talking about how the electric charge turns into electric generation and electric delivery, customers often see that extra line item and think, oh man, I'm getting charged, you know, an extra third of my energy bill, but really it's just being split out and unbundled. And so we do our best and are trying to counter some of that information online because it isn't true. But with Nextdoor, as you might be aware, it's quite hard to get into all the different neighborhoods. We actually have an agency account where we're able to post things. We can sort of make a few posts per month that the broad community can see, but we can't see conversations going on within particular neighborhoods or certain threads. So yeah, what we always ask is if you're willing, just direct people to our website. All the information's there, or have them call us. We'd be happy to explain what's going on there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Do you have a question at all? Any comments being a board member?
Well, you know me, I always have comments. So I think Brock raises a good point. Because I live over on the west side, I get a very limited view into Nextdoor, but I have been busy on my Nextdoor trying to get the facts out and putting my email out and saying, hey, please contact me if you have questions, happy to talk. I've actually had a few people do that, which I've then directed to staff at the East Bay Community Energy and gotten resolution. Interesting enough, all of them are around the solar usage. And it's kind of above my pay grade, but if I'm understanding the outcome, the people are actually going to receive a little more money through EBCE for their solar than they are through PG&E. But don't take my word on that, because that is above my pay grade. You know, I think from a policy perspective, the council chose to opt into, I get the names wrong, the Brilliant 100, I believe, because we wanted, you know, we're in the middle of redoing the climate action plan that's mandated by the state. And this is a huge step for us. But we also recognize, the COVID and the impact on businesses, I think in particular. So we did choose the Brilliant 100 for that reason. And then we also put the customers, that are in the care, and I got the names wrong, the pharma and the medical, into the bright choice, just to give them at least a tiny bit of savings. And then the other thing that Danny didn't mention is the city is opting into the renewable 100. And we want to lead, the city wants to lead by example. It's going to cost the city about $90,000 more in our electric bill, but we feel, it makes a strong statement, and it moves us very much towards the Climate Action Plan 2.0 goals that we have for the city. And quite frankly, this one's pretty painless. Some of the other things that are being kicked around, will have impacts on our lives. So this one seems somewhat like almost a no-brainer. I would encourage any of you, if you have questions, you can give them my email address or tell them to contact me through Facebook. I'm getting a lot of that now. And I can either answer the question, or I am directing them to the East Bay EBCE staff, which I'm happy to do. And they've been extremely responsive and very quick. So kind of a long-winded answer, but this is something that the City Council is very committed to, and we want to have a very high opt-in rate. We're trying to manage the social media. We don't want to be like Livermore, who had, I think it was close to 10% opt-out rate, because it got legs on social media with some misinformation. And so we really don't want that. And I'll leave it at that. If you do have specific questions, I can answer them now, or you can contact me, call me offline. Happy to discuss them.
Thank you, Councilmember Narum. Councilmember Balch, welcome. Do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, me adding anything except that I had a lot of computer problems. I would just say, it was easy to support, and Zach and Becky did a lot of work for the council to bring it forward. I did ask how many commercial customers, and they got that back to me. But, from my view, you have all the choice. You have 100% choice. You can stay in, you can opt out, up, down. So what are we losing in this to do this? And I do agree the city is leading by example. One comment to that is it was 4% of the city's PG&E costs. So by the way, the city spends over $2 million annually for PG&E, if you want to think about how much money we're spending for electricity. So maybe some more solar panels at the Operation Service Center is in our future as a city.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I guess just a general question, with all the added cities you're putting into the program, is there and you mentioned that you're going to have to grow the solar power generation. What are the plans for that? Is there you have concerns, or what is the, I guess, long-term outlook for continually providing that type of energy?
Yes. So it's sort of a, it's a big question, right?
Yeah, I know it's a big one. Sorry.
What's the long-term plan? We definitely are focused in, we want to create these plants close to home wherever possible. Alameda County is quite dense compared to other parts of the state. So it doesn't always make sense to, generate all of our electricity here, but we can still do our part. Our next project that's coming online is actually more wind turbines on the Altamonte Pass. So that's an example of, creating clean, green energy jobs close to home, as well as, generating in our own area. But we'll continue to, we're going to need a lot more than what's here, I guess is what I would say. We were only contracted for 550 megawatts right now. We'll definitely need a lot more than that. And we'll want to keep adding clean energy to the grid. But we'll also continue to buy some power from the market. Our EBCE staff and our power procurement team, they've been doing this for a while at various energy agencies, and they have a lot of familiarity with this, so they understand, you know, the best formula for, you know, contracting your own PPAs versus, you know, hedging in the market and those sorts of things. So, yeah, I guess in short, the answer is we're going to need a lot more clean energy, because not only one thing to think about is not only, you know, is the state trying to get cleaner, but as things electrify and as buildings become more electric and as people switch to electric vehicles, which is, you know, expected, that adds a lot of load to the grid. So you need a lot more generation in the long run.
Great. Any other questions from anyone? Oh, Gary, and then I'll hit Mr. Baker.
Good morning. So when I was involved with Chabot Las Positas, we came up with a comprehensive plan to try to get totally electric sufficient with independent with the solar panels, and the schools are doing great. So you have all that roof surface. So Pleasanton, it's like, well, how many buildings or parking lots, whether you can get independent. The other part is what's going on with City of Livermore and that trying to retrofit homes to be all electric, change the appliances. So I don't know if you want to hit on that, trying to create a mandatory retrofit the homes when they're sold to be all electric. Thank you.
Sure, thank you for the question. I'm not as familiar with the City of Livermore in particular, but we are working with our cities to develop REACH codes. So what a REACH code is, you know, the state has certain mandates, and then cities can be a little bit more aggressive if they want. And, you know, we are in support of electrification. So it might not make sense to, you know, go in and pull out existing appliances that still work, but going forward, when a home is being built from the ground up, if cities want to put in electrification REACH codes where certain appliances should be put in electric instead of gas, we are supporting them in that way, which it sounds like that might be what is happening in Livermore. I'm not as familiar with that one in particular, but we are supporting electrification efforts in that way.
Steve.
I had two questions. The first question is, since you're buying power from other parties, is there a greater risk of unavailability through EBCE versus, you know, our current provider, PSE&G? And the second question is, currently you're pricing at the same level as you know, PSE&G, with an option a little bit above and an option a little bit below to start with. Is that the ongoing pricing strategy, or can we expect, or should we expect, some divergence over time in that you could be more expensive or more cost efficient, or are you going to continue to peg to whatever rates PSE&G negotiates through the you know, Public Utility Board?
Yeah, two great questions. The first question in regards to reliability, the answer is no, the reliability stays the same with EBCE and PG&E. So the California Independent System Operator, the CAISO, they're actually more involved in that sort of second to second, minute to minute monitoring of, do we have enough load in the energy grid to meet the demand of the state? So they sort of combine all the different entities that are serving the state and make sure that, you know, everything's there. So PG&E is also buying, they generate a lot of their power, but they're also buying power from various providers as well. So the reliability stays the same with EBCE and PG&E. But we do want to, you know, build our own power resources and not just buy in the market, because it, you know, it adds the renewables to the grid, and it can lock in some long-term fixed pricing at low costs. So that's the reason that we don't want to buy all of our market buy all of our power from the open market. And then in regards to your second question on sort of rate structure, In the long run, EBCE, I think, would like to not be pegged to PG&E's rates, because right now, PG&E changes their rates. In the last few years, they've changed their rates multiple times a year, and we have to go in and change our rates to go up or down to maintain that value proposition of 1% discount or the same, or penny more, depending on which option you're enrolled at. And for us, it's that might not be what we're seeing in the market and what we're buying, but because that's what we've told our customers, that's how we're set up. We do that every single time PG&E changes their rates. So actually come next month, there's going to be a PG&E rate change, and we're going to change our rates to continue to maintain those promises that I just stated. But in the long term, that might not be the best option for us. However, we know that our customers, they know PG&E, they think about their energy in relation to PG&E. PG&E's been the only option for 20 years or so, pretty much. So right now we think that and as we just get our legs under us a little bit, it makes sense from a customer perspective to be able to say, hey, is this cheaper than PG&E or not? Whereas if we had our own structure, it might be a little bit harder to communicate that information.
And Danny, any kind of change like that would have to be passed by the board.
Yes, that would be a long process. It wouldn't be, we've had the same structure since we launched. The only difference has been our discount changed at the end of last year from 1.5% to 1% due to various constraints and COVID and all sorts of different things. And that was a big public process and with our board and our budget setting. And that's been the only change that's happened. But anything like that, yes, Zach, you're right. It would go through the board. It's not something that we can sort of hide. It would all be very public, and we certainly want to make our customers aware of it.
Herb.
Yeah, Danny, can you show the bill again? Just share the bill. Look,
Sure.
Brock was saying, everybody's looking at that adder on the bill, and they think it's an adder from what they usually get. And I was just a thought is, can they? I don't know. Can you show the bill, or is it?
That's coming up. Yeah. There we go.
I was just wondering if, from a marketing standpoint, if they, instead of having two line items, have one item with a subcategory showing the two, how they add together, and then maybe show compared to prior year value, just so it doesn't look like it's an adder charge, because nobody knows unless they go back and look at 2020, 2008.
Yeah, and I hear you, Herb. Unfortunately, it is PG&E's bill structure, so we have to work within them.
Okay.
And since there's all these different CCAs in PG&E's territory, PG&E can't make these one-off changes for every CCA. It would be very hard for them to do that as well. So there are ongoing processes to improve the bill presentment structure. And EBCE, we've actually changed our bill presentment since we launched, which actually makes it a little bit nicer. So on the EBCE page in particular, that bright choice, negative $2.49 there that I called out.
Yep.
That wasn't always there. So that was some of the concern we heard when we launched back in 2018.
Okay.
Customers were confused. So that definitely helps. However, if you're on Brilliant 100, you won't see that because you won't have savings. But if you're on Renewable 100, it does say exactly how much more you're paying per month, which is nice. And the other thing is, this is getting a little bit into the weeds, but there's these fees that show up when you unbundle the bill and join a CCA. They're called the power charge and difference adjustment and the franchise fee surcharge. And these are actually, they're fees that all PG&E customers pay, but it's just sort of all, once again, wrapped up into the charges. And when you join a CCA, they get pulled out, and then customers think they're paying this additional thing. So that's why we've also subtracted them on our bill so that customers can see they're not actually paying that additional cost.
Yeah, I like that generation page. That helps a bit.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, I just, can we go back to that bill page? Because I just ran the math, and that 187 is not in the 407. So 407 plus 187 plus 211 equals the 809. It's already deducted out of the 407.
Correct. Sorry, it's a bit hard to show. So what I was trying to say is that if EBCE didn't exist here, the 187 plus the 407 would all be combined into 594. And then you'd have the 211 additional to that. And that's how it shows up. You know, if you look at your current PG&E bill, it just says electric delivery and gas. But once you join EBCE, that 94 gets split into two, into the 407, 187. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It is a little odd on how they're presenting the bill.
I agree. It's definitely not the best case scenario. And trust me, I've had many of these conversations with people and helped them understand their bill. And I wish we could make it easier. And we're continuing to work with PG&E to try to get it to be more transparent and easy to understand, because it shouldn't take 30 minutes to understand how to read your energy bill.
All right. Any other questions from anybody?
Gary,
Yeah.
is there like an online rate calculator? Because I manage an office building and have a horrendous $4,000 to $6,000 a month electric bill in the summertime. So to compare, what kind of savings would it be with, signing up with EBC? Or is there a rate calculator online, or how do we know what the rate is with you versus somebody else?
Sure. We have, so we do have a PDF on our website, and we have a page called Understanding Your Bill that goes into all these things and explains it better than I did today. And it gives you the formula for how to, compare what you would have paid with PG&E versus what you would have paid with EBCE. But if you're, and then once again, if it's just 1 meter, or a few meters, as I mentioned, if you're on the Bright Choice option, it will tell you every month exactly how much you saved that month. So that's a sort of automatic calculation that way. But if you're looking to do the cost analysis before the switch happens, unfortunately, we don't have anything automatic like that. But yeah, if I could maybe try to work with you. The problem is we don't have your data right now because you're not our customer. So PG&E gives us your data once you're our customer. And then one of my jobs is, I help our business customers understand how much they're saving and how much they would pay extra, and I can run those sorts of reports. But when you're not our customer, I can't see your data.
Yeah, and Zach just posted the website, I think, right, Zach, that you're speaking about, Danny? So Gary, you may want to check that out to look at the comparisons.
Yes, thank you, Zach.
Yeah, great. Any other questions for the group, for Danny and the city? Okay, I don't see any. Thank you so much, Danny. Lori, did you want to make any closing remarks?
No, have a great day, everybody. This was really informative. I appreciate folks taking the time this morning to come in and walk us through this. So, and I might be the only one on the call that does not do Nextdoor, but that's okay.
Well, Brock's going to fill everybody in on what we learned today, right, Brock?
That's right. And you should all come to my neighborhood because for some unobvious reason, I have lots and lots of experts that live in my neighborhood. It's amazing.